guys, in today's video, you are going to be learning about how to play one of my favorite openings for black. It's called the King's Indian Defense. You might have heard of this opening, but may not know how to play it. Sure, you may know the typical fortress where black develops the knight on f6, and Fiend shadows the bishop, and then castles alongside, right? But you don't know the ideas. Then this is the right video for you. I'm going to try to explain all the key ideas and show examples from some of my games, and the King's Indian Defense or the King's Indian Attack, which is for white. I'll cover that in a later another video, but today we're focusing on the King's Indian Defense. A great way to remember too is doing acronyms. So Kia, King's Indian Attack, is for white. Kid, King's Indian Defense, is for black. So Kia is for white and Kid is for black. So today we're going to be learning about the Kid or the King's Indian Defense, and it's a very perfect opening for people who play for the win. It's an aggressive, they call it a hyper-modern aggressive opening. Yeah, you don't have to chuck that at someone, but I'm doing it for informational purposes. But anyways, let's dive in. So the King's Indian Defense is a pretty flexible opening, and you'll see that now, just now too, and later in the video. So the King's Indian Defense can work with either this, sometimes even this. Sometimes. And rarely with this, because if you just right away put the knight, then it turns into the Alekhine defense. And really in the Alekhine defense, we don't Fiend shadow. So rarely it happens when this move is played. But anyways, we're just going to focus on the main line. D4, knight f6, knight f6, developing the knight. Now, white is going to take up the center, c4, by doing c4, the most common move. If he plays something like this, then I recommend you just transpose into a regular queen's pawn opening. But if he tries to take more space, which is what most opponents do, then you play g6. Preparing to Fiend shadow your bishop on the long diagonal. This. You're preparing to Fiend shadow your bishop on the long diagonal, and then prepare to castle. So knight c3 is the most commonly played. It's preparing this to take even more space. We don't care about that. And notice, in the King's Indian, white center looks very scary. But in fact, it's not that scary. It's not at all. A lot of people who just start out playing the King's Indian think about white's massive center. And the King's Indian is an opening that you want to attack on the king side, the queen side, and the king and the center. King side or queen side, it depends. And you're gonna see that in some of my games too. I'm not gonna go for the king side break. So after e4, after knight c3, bishop g7, e4. Now we have to stop white from expanding his center, else we're doomed. So d6 is first played, then we castle, no matter what black does. Knight f3 is the main line. Okay, there are some different options, and I'm going to cover them later in this video. Now what you just want to do is just castle. Now, in this position, we want to strike at white's center. There are two ways to do this. Either e5, pawn break number 1, or c5, pawn break number 2. pawn break number 1 is an indication that you're gonna attack on the king side. Pawn break number 2 is an indication that you're gonna attack on the queen side. And it really does depend. It's not like, oh, maybe I wanna do a queen side attack. No, king side attack. No, it's not like that. It actually depends on the position, and you'll see that in one of my games. So, after bishop e2, the main line, white prepares to castle. We do knight to c6. Most commonly, this is for some reason called the orthodox variation. No, this is called the orthodox variation. White will not directly do that because he just plants us on a gray outpost. So, he will first castle. He usually first... Whoa, what? Okay, so after... And now we play the e5. Now he will play d5 because now this square is not optional. We have to go back. And you might say, well, what kind of opening is this? You just allow white to push you off the board. Well, the King's Indian has a lot of maneuvers, and you have to remember them if you want to become a great King's Indian defense player. So this is maneuver number 1. You'll see the later maneuvers now. So after knight to d2, what on earth is going on? Why did he just go there? Well, in the King's Indian, when you move this e5 pawn, mostly white knows that you're going to attack on the king side. And white is not just going to sit there doing nothing, okay? What white is going to try to do is attack on the queen side. And the beautiful thing about the King's Indian is if white crashes through with the attack on the queen side, white only gains a little bit of material. But if black crashes through on the king side, then most commonly it's checkmate. So, knight to e8. Okay, now you're asking me seriously, what is going on? Well, now, if you do e5, then your main move now, after you do this, is to go for pawn break number 2 that comes under the king side attack. If you're doing the queen side attack, then you want to put a pawn on here. And I'm just going to highlight the square, the main squares that you want your pawns to be on, whether you're doing a queen side attack or a king side attack. The yellow ones are indicating that it's a queen side attack, okay? So, and the red ones are indicating a king side attack. So if you're on the queen side, then you want to put your B pawn on B5, C pawn on C5. If you're doing a king side attack, then E pawn on E5, F pawn on F5, and then later sometimes advance it on here. And same for this pawn too. And one thing, notice how it's making a pawn chain. Where's this pawn chain pointing? The king side, right? The king side. Now white knows that he's not going to have too much hope attacking on the king side because this pawn chain is lying to him. So he's going to choose this way, this other way, and he's now attacking on the queen side. So wherever your pawn chains point, you should most likely attack there because your pawns, trust me, your pawns never lie. It's like numbers never lie. Your pawns never lie. I should say your pawn chains never lie. But anyways, H4. H4 happens. Uh-oh. Now white's pawn storm is coming in. But now we do our break. F5. He doesn't usually take. If he does, then he just opens up the rook. Thank you very much. And if you're asking me why we are not developing the C bishop, it's because the C bishop job, if you're attacking on the king side, is its main goal is to sacrifice, so we just keep it there. If it's a queenside attack, then it usually just supports this diagonal. So the bishop is really quiet, but it has an immense purpose in the King's Indian. The light square bishop, not the dark square bishop. Okay, now, enough talking. F3. Now, this is the key move. This is the key move. This is the key move. If your opponent does not accept this, which he most likely will not, and then your opponent plays F3, then we play F4. Else, don't play it. Else, don't play it. It's actually really bad because you can just do this, and he can open up his F file, and the rooks are lining up, and once trade happens, the queen will be plopped on this square, and our king side attack will be a fail. And white will crash through. So, F4. F4 happens. We just lock it down. Now, C5. Uh-oh. Here comes white's attack. No fear. Knight F6. I know. Well, you're asking me why are we doing this stuff. Because it's no harm if you just take it away, okay? It's no problem. Because it's just the C file is open, that's it. Okay, that's it. So, after knight to B3, he's getting all his pieces on the queen side, which is what you want to do if you're facing the King's Indian attack, a king side attack. G5, we continue with our pawn storm. A4, white continues. Knight to G6. Now, this is where you want to plop the knight when you're attacking on the king side. And then your knights can just freely jump in and attack the enemy. So, bishop A3. Now this is a key defensive and attacking idea. Rook to F7. Why you are telling me that? To do that? Well, I'm telling you to do that because look how this rook will come here. Okay? Once the trades happen, this square is really weak. He's going to plop the knight. He's going to plop the knight on the C7 square with protection from the rook on C1. And what that knight wants to do once he comes here and here, he wants to plop himself on this sweet outpost. And sadly, we have to give up our bishop, our key bishop, and our sacrifice. Then there will be no sacrifice and there will be no attack. So, rook. The rook, just make sure it's keeping an eye. But this pawn is almost going to get pressure now, right? That's why we just do this bishop side. And it's also attacking because we move our rook to this square where the bishop was, and we help with the attack. So, moving on. Rook to C1. Bishop F8. B5. Rook to G7. And both sides' ideas are clear. White wants to attack on the queen side, and black wants to attack on the queen side. And black wants to attack on the king side. Now, I'm going to show you a game that I actually played. So, in this game, I am playing against Fiona. I am actually playing against the bot version of herself. If you know that chess.com has a lot of bots. And if you don't know who Fiona is, Fiona is a woman candidate master from Uganda, most known as Queen of Katwe. There's a movie based on her, so chess.com just decided to make a bot. Now, I can't say that I won against a woman candidate master because, again, it's a bot, and chess.com developed it, and the humans developed it at chess.com, not a computer that developed a computer. The humans developed it, and they sometimes can be wrong. Sometimes they can be wrong. But, anyways, I played and I was black. Okay, now d4, knight f6. We're going for the Indian game, not the King's Indian. This is called the Indian game. Now this is called the King's Indian defense. Knight c3, bishop g7, e4, normal King's Indian stuff, f4, castles, bishop e2, e5, pawn break. Oh, and I forgot to mention, before pawns attack, it's a pretty good resource. I'm gonna go back to it after I'm done showing you this game, and then I'm gonna show you one final game that I attack on the queen side. F takes e5, d takes e5, d5. Now, oh, you're saying, well, this pawn is gone. Well, what makes this pawn chain so solidified? Well, still, we can do it, even though it doesn't look like a King's Indian. Remember how I said the King's Indian defense is so flexible? In this position, it's so flexible, but that you can just keep on going with your king side attack. Knight e8, knight f3, f5, immediately, without this knight coming in. Bishop g5, queen d6, oh, castles, f4, we lock the bishop outside. This bishop got trapped. Well, actually it doesn't really get trapped because it can just go here, but we gain a lot of space. So, king h1, why does he do this? Why does this happen? Well, sometimes he just knows that he just wants to avoid this annoying check, getting this pawn. So, h6 happens, bishop h4, we gain our space, bishop f2, now we're on the attack. White hasn't even started the attack. We should win. We should go on to win. Now finally knight d7, c5, knight takes c5. I know, why am I doing this? Well, it's actually better to take with the knight because actually the engine says so too. And it does put some pressure. So he has to worry about that. And we can always go back if we want to. B takes c5. Okay, now that was a blunder. You lose a pawn. Okay, you lose a pawn. And I'm pawn up. Queen d3, queen e7, rook a to c1. What is this trying to do? It's trying to do this. So we do our defensive idea. Well, I didn't do it because we have our queen and our knight supporting it. So there's no need to do it now. a6, a3. Well, I just did this to prevent this idea. The computer thinks it's like a very bad move. But still, it's kind of safe to be safe. d6. Okay, now, I don't know what the engine was thinking. I just took with the pawn, no queen trace, because I want to attack knight d5. Okay, you wanted to get the outpost. So, that knight was too strong. Knight takes d5. And you're saying, well, a bunch of trades have happened. What in the world has gone in this game? Now, queen c5, queen c4. You know that I cannot just move my knight here because it's pinned and I'm going to lose it no matter what. So I tried a move b5, and then queen b3, and then I just have realized that I just have to do that. Now he takes with the pawn. Now bishop d7, and you're asking me what on earth is going on? Well, this is not the regular King's Indian, and this is the more flexible version of King's Indian. The bishops will do fine. The rook is going to jump in. This rook is also going to jump in, probably. Queen to c2. Rook a to c8. Okay, we trade that rook. Now white has one less kingside defender because the rook just abandoned the kingside. Bishop f5. Queen b4. g4. Knight to d2, e4, preparing this, and look at this, we're just gonna make a 4-pawn attack back to you, white king. Bishop takes g4, because the bot knew that these pawns were too strong to be connected. So bishop takes g4, knight takes e4, that's a blunder. That's actually a blunder because we can do this. Okay, so I did that. And if takes, then we take this. So the only option is to do this. But Fiona did not play that. Queen takes a5. queen takes e4. You can see how my King's Indian attack is now unfolding pretty well. Now f3, it's mate in 5. Queen f1. F takes g2 check. Queen takes g2. Bishop f3. King g1. Bishop takes g2. h3. B takes h. Bishop takes h3. Rook c2. Queen takes c2. King h1. Rook f1 checkmate. So that's how my kingside attack unfolded. And as from this game, you can see the King's Indian is a very flexible opening. Now let's go back and discuss the 4 pawns attack, which is a line that you may have heard, which is a line that most people play. So instead of the main line and going this, white can often try to do the 4 pawns attack. You're saying to me, well, now I'm scared to play the King's Indian because this is just too big of a center. Well, the center is not actually that horrifying as you might think. When I first started to play the King's Indian, I thought it was horrifying too. And everyone does, almost everyone. If you're a really aggressive player, then you probably won't mind. But we just castle, you know? We just castle. And then e5. If e5, that's a blunder. D takes e5. F takes e5. Knight f to d7. And this is actually fine for black. Now, this pawn is good. We usually kind of do this. And then take it with the bishop. And we give white double pawns. And we just, after this, we just play regular chess. No more King's Indian stuff, okay? We just play regular chess, yeah, no King's Indian defense, okay? So, that's a good way to avoid the King's Indian defense if you're white and if you're really scared of playing against it. That's why most people play this f4 thingy. But, still, sometimes it does not work, okay? But, anyways, what people mostly do is, after knight f3, knight b to d7, basic King's Indian, bishop e2, c5. We do a queenside attack. Why are you telling me not to do a kingside attack? Because there's too many attackers, okay? There's simply too many attackers, okay? We only have 2 defenders, okay? So that's why we do a queenside attack. d5. Queen to a5. Oh, castles. Knight to e8. Bishop e3, knight to c7, and now our goal is to attack on the queen side. And white still doesn't have a goal yet, so that's kind of good. And another opening you might face is the same-ish variation. That goes f3 instead of knight to f3. Now in this you just do castles, bishop to d3, e5, d5, and then knight b to d7, and you just play your King's Indian. So let's go on to our final game and the final thing in this video. So this is the game I was playing, and I beat a really strong player within 17 moves. Well, technically 16 because the guy resigned at that point, but 17 moves should be good. So, d4, knight f6, c4, g6. Our main move, knight to c3, bishop g7, bishop g5, d6, and actually a good try to avoid any complications of the King's Indian is actually just to trade a bishop for the knight. And I know, why are you asking me to do? Because sometimes this knight is just too powerful and you have to get rid of it before it does anything bad. So that's why most people do that. But queen to d2, what is the idea of this move? What is the idea of this subtle move? It's to do this and literally get my dark squares weak. So that's why I just did h6. Oh, whoa. Okay, so I did h6, okay? Now he cannot take because after this, this, then the rook comes in. Okay, so bishop to h4, g5, g3, castles. Okay, so you're asking me, you have weakened your white squares. Well, there's a good thing. Bishop's not doing anything. Second of all, we've actually gotten half of our attack done already before playing the first break. And then our F break. So, that's a good sign. H3. I'm not sure what this idea tries to accomplish. Knight B to D7. We just carry on. Rook to D1. Now, I'm sad at this point because I cannot play my kingside attack even though we're done half of it without playing our main breaks. Because if I do E5, even though I have the defenders and all, after D takes, and D takes, bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes D8, rook takes D8, rooks take D8, check, king H7, and this is a fail. So that's why I had no option but to do C5. Now, white did this, and actually he was actually supposed to take. He should have taken, because then my knight has to come here. I have to worry about this. I have a little back rank issue because this bishop is not developed. So white would be fine there. And we would have continued a good game. Unlike this game, because I just beat like a very higher rated person than me in just 16 moves. Queen to A5, and now we just prepare our second break. Let's do this. Okay, and I'm going to speed through the rest of the moves. E3, rook to B8, knight F3, A6, bishop to D3, B5, C takes B5, A takes B5. Our queenside attack is gonna crash through now. B3, if bishop had taken, and I thought I lost the pawn there, but you can actually sacrifice the exchange. And there's no harm in doing this because white is too weak on the queen side. We're threatening this, and all of our pieces are still going to have a party on the queen side, even though we have no pawns on the queen side. So, and the computer really likes this. It's giving black a 5.37 evaluation, which is like being up a rook in computer language. So, this should work out well for me. And if knight takes, then still rook takes b5, bishop takes, queen to b5, and same thing. Okay, but now he did b4. I did b4. And he did a mistake. He actually did a blunder. Knight to e4. It's so sad. So sad. Because he had to actually go back and he actually resigned. Because once I take, after bishop takes e4, bishop to c3, and white has to resign. And if white does not resign at this point when I take his knight, he has to move his queen, then I'm going to get rid of this bishop, and I'm going to have a happy ending. You know, I'm going to have a happy ending. I'm going to pressurize, maybe get this guy into the attack, and it's a 1 game for me. So, I very much appreciate you to making it to the end of this video. It supports me a lot, and I love your support that you just watched a 30-minute masterclass on the King's Indian. And thank you. I have no words. I have no other words to say but just thank you for watching this video. It's tremendous support to me. And if you like this video, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. to all your friends. And don't forget to hit the bell icon for new videos. So, bye for now, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.